Alright, Chapter 40, using 0 as a placeholder and circle graphs. Using 0 as a placeholder is a very easy concept, so we won't spend tons of time on it. But it's basically exactly what it sounds like. So example number 1 says to subtract 0.32 from 0.5. Let's see. 0.32 subtract from 0.5. Obviously, we'll always rewrite these going up and down. 0.5. Remember, decimals have to be lined up. So the 3 is in the 10th spot, and so is the 5. So they are lined up. But this is 0.32. Now, a lot of times, you're going to look at this and say, okay, start on the furthest you can go to the right. There's nothing here, so you need to put a placeholder 0 because you have to subtract this 2 from something. And remember what we said earlier in a different lesson. You can add as many zeros as you need. So I can add and on forever. But I only need 1 0 in this situation because this number right here, 0.32, only has 2 digits. So let me grab my eraser really quick. Erase these 2 zeros. Alright, 0 minus 2 can't do it, so we're going to borrow. 5 is going to become a 4. 0 is going to become a 10. Now we can subtract this. 10 minus 2 is 8. 4 minus 3 is 1. So your answer in this case is 0.18. But the crux of the issue, the most important item that you should learn is obviously by putting a 0 here, we're able to complete the problem. Let's do another example, and then we'll move on to circle graphs. Let's take 0.4 from 3. So if you have 3, I'm going to subtract, and remember, whenever you have a whole number, the last ending, or the whole number that's in the 1 spot, directly to the right of it, there's a decimal point. Okay, and we are subtracting 0.4 from 3. So remember, we're going to put 0.4. Alright. Now there's nothing right there, so you're going to need to put at least one placeholder 0 so that you can have something from which to subtract 4. Obviously, you can't take 0 minus 4, so we're going to borrow again. That's become a 2. That's going to become a 10. 10 minus 4, 6. Bring your decimal straight down. 2 minus nothing is 2. Easy stuff. You guys got this. Let's do a multiplication problem. Number 3. It is 0.2 times 0.3. 0.2 times 0.3. And you can convert those to fractions, but we are working with decimals, so let's keep them as decimals today. Rewrite this. And when we have 0.2 and 0.3, you don't necessarily need to line up the decimal points. In this case, they're lined up, but if they weren't lined up, you would not necessarily need to go out of your way to do that. Only for addition and subtraction do the decimal points need to be lined up. Alright, 3 times 2 is 6. You're going to bring down actually, at this point, you would try to figure out where the decimal point goes. Alright? Notice this is 1 space over, and this is 1 space over. So since there's a total of 1, the decimal's moved over a total of 2 spaces on top here, then the decimal's going to have to move over 2 places here. Okay? Meaning, there's an empty space. If there's an empty space, use a placeholder 0 to designate that. So this would be 6 hundredths right there. Or if you wrote that as a fraction, it would be 6 over 100, so on and so forth. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about circle graphs. Alright, this right here is a survey done in, I'm sure, a fictitious class, or maybe it's a real class. But in this class, it shows the pets that different students have. There are 16 dogs, 8 cats, 4 birds, 4 fish. I'm more of a dog person myself. I am allergic to cats. They make me sneeze, my eyes water, and I have to blow my nose a lot. So I'm definitely in this part of the circle here. Fish take too much cleaning. Birds, they make a mess. I like dogs the best. Anyway, so let's analyze this graph. The first thing you need to understand is how many total pets are represented in this graph. So we know that there are 16 dogs, 8 cats, 4 birds, and 4 fish. So just add that up really quick. 16 plus 8 plus 4 plus 4. We're going to get a total of 32 pets. Okay? The next thing they want to know is what fraction of the pets are birds. In order to do that, this is part A. In order to do that, to figure out the fraction that are birds, you're going to use the total number of all pets as your denominator. Okay? You need a fraction bar. 32 is going to go as your denominator. Your denominator determines how many total pets you have. Alright, what goes as the numerator? This is asking for the number of pets that are birds. So in that case, you look over here and notice that there are 4 birds, so that's your numerator. So 4 out of 32. If you go ahead and reduce that, sorry, I stand up, you see half of me there. In order to reduce that, you're going to find your greatest common denominator, which in this case is 4, so divide top and bottom by 4, and you're going to end up with 4 divided by 4 is 1, 32 divided by 4 is going to be 8. So 1/8 of the pets, or 12.5%, are birds. So let's set that as 12.5%. It says what percent of the pet. The third thing that asks, this way I guess be part C, is what percent of the pets are dogs. This is pretty simple if you just look at the graph. Notice, half of the people have dogs. The other half either have cats, birds, or fish. So if you just look visually, you can see that half is dogs. And we know that the percentage that represents half is 50%. A different way, if you want to do that mathematically, you could just say, alright, this is 16 out of 32. There's 16 dogs out of a total of 32 animals. And that reduces to 1/2. And we know that 1/2 is represented by 50%. Alright, so hopefully that helps you understand circle graphs a little bit better.